So my name is Kaitlyn McConnell, and I'm here with Gordon McCann, who was selected as a 2024 Living Tradition Sustainer Fellow by the Missouri Folk Arts Program. Today we're in Springfield at Gordon's apartment, where we will discuss his long-lasting work to preserve the local music and culture of the region. Thank you for sharing with us today, Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of just to get started, can you tell us about how you got interested in Ozarks culture and history to begin with?
Well, first of all, my mother's people, she's from Arkansas. They came in from Scotland into South Carolina, and I guess come from Presbyterians. Must have had something to do with them because they didn't like Carolinas because of the mosquitoes and all that. I don't know what else. But then they came and they ended up in the southwest corner of Washington County, Arkansas. That's the county that Fayetteville's in.
Okay.
Right around the corner, and they were mostly coming from Presbyterian preachers and educators.
Ah.
And so that must be the next. And they started a study. I studied a church school and also good school, a college.
Okay.
I started. You'll have to study
This is fine.
I'll be 92, I guess.
Well, this is August. It's your birthday this month, isn't it?
Yeah. And but anyway, and then they come to Presbyterian College, and I kind of, undoubtedly that's the one. Well, it has something to do with also why way up here. Now I know this may be completely wrong, but what I've heard, there were only after the Civil War, there were only two places were wanted university. One was Jonesboro, and the other was Fayetteville. Now, maybe the Fayetteville got it, and maybe that the fact that the Presbyterian College being there and everything has some influence on that. I would imagine. I don't know. But the McCann family was the main family. McCann's, Beans. Now I heard the Beans. Daniel Boone's mother was a Bean, and so I don't know. They're family things I've heard, and but my mother's. Just say Bean, Nanny Bean had 5 children.
Okay.
And there was 5 or 6, and my great grandmother, in other words, my mother was orphaned. Her father drowned down in Eureka Springs, and then she remarried, and a man in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then she was in a buggy wreck with my great grandmother, and didn't get over it. And I heard a lot of stories. The old staunch German family. I heard about everybody. But anyway, then when she was 8 years old, they sent my mother back to Springfield to be raised by her mother, which is my great grandmother, and and she legally adopted her. So that's it. My ties stayed right at there. Didn't go back to Oklahoma, and that's where she raised then. And then Nanny remarried a cousin, another McCann, and. Then she had 5 more children. There's the other 5. And let's see this. My great grandmother and had 81 sister, and I don't know her. She died forever. And but the family then the Buchanans, I don't know how they made their money, but they made somebody made something because they ended up around Jasper County, Arkansas. I mean, excuse me,
Jasper County, Missouri.
yeah, Jasper County and Carthage and Joplin, that area, all that. And so Will McCann became a millionaire in the mines. I don't know that much about him. I mean, he died before I was, he knew me, but I didn't know him. And, but I was born the day the new fast stock cars were done, and then that's been a residential since then. But he had a mansion on the west part of Jasper County. And he had a mansion there, and then he died, and then I don't know the sequence of several things. How it, anyway, that's where Missouri Southern College is now.
Okay.
This is the McCann I mentioned.
Wow.
And so that's where my mother played for her life. Ended up there. And she showed me one time. I got pictures where her room was and everything, you know. And it's still, buildings are still there at Missouri Southern College.
Okay.
And so they're all buried at Mount Hope Cemetery.
Okay.
Which is the kind of richest cemetery on the west corner part of West Jasper County there. Well, but then my mother to get her out of Arkansas, when she hit her teenage years, then she was sent to live with my mother's name was Jada Marie, and so then she was sent to live with Aunt Jada. Okay. That's who she was named after. So Aunt Jada. Now that's the place we're going to go. Yeah. And go see. There's all those books. I made books out of this stuff. And but she went to Covenant there. I got those pictures in it. Evidently, Covenant Presbyterians must be kind of a Catholic group, like Presbyterian. Okay. Episcopalian. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, but at this old age, I studied now. Right. Old age. I am old age now. But so anyway, then she went to that little Covenant school, and now Aunt Jada married a man named Davy, whose father was from England, and had invented something, invented some process on working with Carthage stone. Okay. And became a millionaire. So they had this home in Carthage. West edge of Carthage, and beautiful place it was, and it is his cabin, his home, I mean, onto a cabin that's the oldest structure now, actively still standing, where the first Jasper County Court was held. They had their first meeting, and I used to walk from the living room, walk out right into this cabin, the one room. Wow. It had never been added to it now. So that's where I got my interest in history.
So even when you were a kid, you were interested in Ozarks history?
Well, playing around Jada's, and then hearing about mother. Now my dad's people came out of Minnesota, the Grass German Dutch, and well, I don't get so involved with my great grandmother yet. But anyway, they ended up in my great grandfather. They ended up in Murphy Paris. No, Murphy is just Kansas, right in there. I got these long panoramic pictures of the first street there. First. No, I'm stuttering on this. See, I'm sorry about all this. But then, I hate to get started into the rest of it. Now, he married Vance McCann, who was a Canadian, and her dad had been murdered. And then she was in an orphanage in New Jersey, I think, or something. There's so much of this ton stuff that I can't. It's hard for me to keep it straight now. I can, but if I had it all in front of me. But anyway, then she was now my great-grandfather McCann, Albert McCann, my dad's named Albert after him, and they left Liverpool, England. I don't know exactly what it was, the 1850s, I guess. And out on the ocean, he had a little brother, Albert, and never got sick and died and was buried at sea.
Okay.
And so they ended up at now this is the stories. Ended up where all the immigrants came in.
Ellis Island?
Yeah. And he was quarantined. And his mother never claimed him again.
Wow.
So who knows, that's really weird, these stories. And then he was foster homed, and so was my grandmother. Now she had gotten into New York too, also. And but anyway, they ended up in the same town, and he was a smith, and she was having a bird cage repaired, and he thought she was real cute little girl, very strong, tiny woman, and he put off finishing the picture. He interested in her. Well, then they got married.
Okay.
Then he was in the 11th Illinois Cavalry. He was Union. Now my mother's people in Arkansas were Confederate.
Okay.
So I'm a typical person in border states. Union soldiers on one side, Confederate on the other.
Yeah.
Just typical person. But anyway, so then they went Murphy. I can't think of the town now in Kansas. Murphy Cross. Anyway, you have to edit this guy. I'm sorry about this stutter. But she had 4 children, and he had a hardware store, and they lived above it.
Okay.
And she had a good woman. Oh, then before that, then in the 1870s and 80s, there was some people, an old man, an old lady, and a boy, supposedly a brother, settled in Springfield, Kansas, and they built a little house where they would have people stay on the highway 90. That's stutter. But anyway, they'd have people stay, and they set them at this table with the canvas behind them, and then one of the old man or the boy would bang with a slam dagger, kill them, stop them. People suddenly disappeared. Well, finally, after they got people they killed a man as a politician, or in somewhere in politics. And anyway, got suspicious. But they went out there, and they were gone. The place was vacant. And they looked around, looked at it, and they got an orchard, a little orchard that had like 14 or 15 trees in it. Right, sunken sections. And there were sunken areas. They dug up, there were 16 bodies.
Wow.
Now, no telling that, they're right at the edge of the prairie, so no telling how many were buried out in the...
Wow.
So anyway, so that started the Benders.
Yeah.
That was the name of this family, the Benders. and they disappeared. So there's all kinds of stories. And I get name, I'll get over here 10 days. But anyway, so my great grandmother, well, I call her. She's a tiny woman. I call her my little girl grandmother. I have a couple of books I still have. I don't know where they are now. At the SMS library, or they're in the library. You may be. I don't know. But and then inscribed to my little girl grandmother. Yeah. No, that's I had those used to. But so then they had a girl working for her that also had an old woman, and they had found the vendors, never found them, and so they she doing the wash and dirt stuff for my great grandmother. And so my great grandmother got the idea. Also, of course, my great grandmother said it had nothing to do with it. He was looking for the person that killed his dad, her father. And also, that was a $2,000 reward too. In those days, that's quite a hunt. But so my grandmother got the suspicious. This other one had. It matches the old woman and Kate. You know, the soothsayer.
Soothsayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she gave lectures on reading people's minds all around the area in that town on Prairie Vale, Kansas. And so she got in her mind that might be Kate. So she started using triangles over her head, and using incantations and all that, and changing mother, working over to and tried to hypnotize this woman to confess. Then all of a sudden, this woman left, the girl and the mother, and she had 2 children or something with it. And so my little tiny woman, she's almost a midget. I got pictures of her somewhere when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I'm taller than she is.
Wow.
And I got pictures of her. There's pictures there. So shows you how little she was. But so she decided, well, that's the vendor girl, and I'm going to get her. She likes dads for her. Well, so. In the 1880s, I guess it'd be the 80s, here's this little tiny woman, leaves my grandfather with the children. And they lived in the house above the hardware store that he owned. And she got on a train, and she traced and found it through that. I got tons of notebooks.
Wow.
You've seen them, of correspondence.
Yeah.
Hunting them down, trying to find the people. And well, she finally found them in Niles, Michigan. I think it was where it was, in Niles, Michigan. And she took the train on her own and went back into Niles, Michigan, or I think that's where it was, somewhere like that, and did detective work. And while she was there, she even rented a lot of area, because for this house for this woman, this girl, with her old lady.
Wow.
And she would go put disguises on.
Wow.
And would go pretending she was selling bodacious, deadies or whatever you call them. And that's what she was and spy on.
Wow.
A little tiny woman, I don't know if it was a disguise. Well, she did that once, then she went back again. And then the second time, she took off back to Niles again. Now, by then, the newspaper knew about her, and I got not a newspaper article, you got them. Mrs. McCann, the little detective, articles about her and her spine, and then she went again, took you back. Yes, I remember my grandfather, there was a baby, took that on the trick with her, on the table to do her disguises. God, it's crazy. That's wild. But
It is
she
wild.
did that. But this is women didn't go off on their own.
Yeah.
A little tiny woman in those days, but she did.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So anyway, she finally got somebody from Puerto Rico to go back, not to Perry, back, and that's Kate Bender. That's Kate. Okay, so and then she ended up she caused the extradition back to Oswego, Kansas to stand trial.
Wow.
That's Kate Bender and her mother. There's the murders, supposedly to the mothers.
Wow.
And had a trial set up in Oswego, Kansas. So must be the county seat, I guess.
Yeah.
And she sat, and there's books been written about visiting her, sitting in close to the judges, saying, you know, and with her eyes, you have to read the books, about well, I can't remember. There's descriptions, and I just really wrote her up, you know. But he afraid to have this woman after him, you know, looking down and all this stuff. But anyway, she took notes. Trial notes. I've got them. Yeah. And but they acquitted them. You know, so.
Wow.
But that's the McCann side of it. And I never knew any of this. Until 20 years ago.
Wow.
Some woman, it's crazy. I didn't know any of this, and I got a call one day at work from the St. Jasper County Court. Are you related to this? We've got a woman named with your name on it. And in other words, you can get their stuff. Now, they lived in the house, you will see. It's still there, I'm pretty sure, because during they're keeping that old house, the McCann house. The shed behind it is where Minton, my next to youngest brother of my great-grandfather, my great-uncle was in. And I remember the McCann's worked. So, but Minton was a gambler, and he had tried getting on back up to Windsor, Kansas area to try and see if they could find out about who the murderer was. All this stuff. And it gets all involved, and it really is maybe. But he became a bum, and I remember him and Daisy, and my Aunt Daisy. But anyway, and said, "Do you want this stuff?" And I said, "My dad." I said, "What?" He said, "You'll have to attend their debt. You'll have to pay off their debts. You know, better watch out." So I said, "No, I don't want." I didn't know, so I let that stuff go, and all this stuff. Now, I'm getting all involved here. You want to get all of us involved?
Well, I'd like to hear a little bit more, but I want to make sure we get to the music and everything too before I run out of space.
Oh, well, yeah. I was filled with the guitar. But I did in high school, the Grand Ole Opry. In high school, in college, we even listened to that every Saturday night. Of all things, you wouldn't think college kids would really listen. But yeah, every Saturday night we listened to Grand Ole Opry. And the kind of folky art there started when I was involved in this. And I can't think how I got involved.
Why don't you talk about Emmanuel Woods?
Well, he was just one of them. Emmanuel Woods at Ozark. The jobs of these, there still are. We went last night to a music party.
Yeah.
And they're all over the Ozarks still. And now it's bluegrass now. But it was just country music is what it was. But everybody played music. And let's see, how did I get old? There was an article in the paper about Emmanuel Woods Ozark Opry. On the north corner of the northeast corner of the square in Ozark, Missouri. And every Saturday night, you see guys together in an old vacant building. He had a little junk shop and stuff. And he had retired with the guy and said, "Hey, just go ahead and have your music. You go ahead and have it anyway. You can have it." The man that owned it just let him use the building. So, and old people, elderly people around there. Well, so they article in the paper about so poor Mona. This has changed our lives. So I said, well, let's go down there and see what's happening. My God, I've never seen old plate glass windows with duct tape holding the rest off of it. And there's a brick building here, this little building, the false front, another false front here. And his cars in between the two. And these older people, that's what the music they'd listen to all their lives, you know. And so I'd never been around anything like that. And we were sitting outside looking in the window first, you know, Mona didn't care for any of that. But anyway, that's how I got started. And there was one old man playing the violin fiddle that really smooth, good. I want to pass stuff, you know. I thought, who's that old man playing the violin there, fiddle? And so I finally got brave enough to take my guitar and go down again. And I started going, and I met those people, and then just got involved with them. And Emmanuel, the big old boy, he had two big boy sons, and his daughter. Urmela. And her husband, her son, Urmela's son, just retired here just a few years ago as a lawyer in Washington government law.
Wow.
And had a career in law.
Wow.
And I still correspond with him.
Well,
but anyway, let's see what I say.
Was the way that they did the music parties kind of the same as McClurg or other jams we see now, or was it old time fiddle music they were playing, or more?
No, they played blues. No, yeah. Then that's what was there, but now they didn't have electric instruments. Now it's jazzed up now, you know. But I heard that old man. I said, he can't slay it. So slow, you know. Well, I didn't realize some other people thought that I was slow. It was a Smithsonian. And so then after, then it started the Frontier Folklife Festival in St. Louis. And Jane Jonesby, a girl from Illinois, who worked for the Smithsonian, for the Arch. And that's had a festival then, and she got involved with that. This girl that was in charge of that stuff, and so they had during the year maybe two or three different festivals, and the government funded. That's how they got Art. And Art wouldn't go unless I was a guitar player.
Say, well, why don't back up for just a second and talk about how you started playing with Art? So we.
There. I finally realized he was the smoothest of all of them.
He was the one who was the slow fiddle player that you mentioned,
Well, but he didn't have to. He played fast. But the Emmanuel was different. I got tons of tapes of it. This always, you know. But anyway, I got let's see. Shortish, there was a music shop where there's the federal building is now. And I used to eat there lunch. It's an old hash house. Same food each day. You see, and I said, I got in there eating one day, and I said, I'd like to meet you. Could I stop by and listen to you? Okay, so that's what got started. And he started teaching me. I didn't know that much about the guitar, really. I was in my mid-40s. And I got to start playing with him.
And this would have been in the, 1970s, late
Yeah,
60s?
yeah. We were partners for 17 years. We were partners for 17 years. But then at the Arch, we went for 8 years. We went to the Arch, and I was his player.
Yeah.
And hormone. But we got involved in that, and then he taught me. That's where I learned from him. I didn't know anything. I learned. I could play pretty good. Rounder. Did a lot of stuff around her. But anyway, I learned to play from him because he played everything. These people did. They played all the instruments. And then they had a guy ask us if we wanted to come to a festival in Washington. Wolf Trap, you know what a wolf trap was. I didn't tell us that anything. But what's wolf trap, you know? That was the first thing we went to, foot trap.
Wow.
And wolf trap, I mean.
Yeah.
Vienna, Virginia. And that's just what got me started. And we became partners.
Yeah.
And then they had us play all over around the country. And, all around the United States and everything.
Where along the way did you start recording?
Oh, man, well, now, I started recording in Ozark. So I didn't know these things. I knew Turkey in the Straw or something. But I learned these things. I didn't know them. I knew Turkey in the Straw, stuff like that, But I didn't really, I didn't have a repertoire of anything, really. But I learned it in a hurry. Because he had a tremendous repertoire and a unique one. His family settled in the 1840s on at Highway 125 across the James River, a creek, McCann. And I can't think of that. Highway 125 across the James River, and then there was these people said in 1840 something, and then the Galbraith family settled just a year later, and they settled in the 1840s. So both of the families did when they were settling in this area.
Wow!
And they just got all involved all that way, and then let's see, I can't remember the names of the things we were in. We were part of federal tours a lot. We played all over the country. And let's see, Kaitlyn McConnell, Ozark, traditional fiddle music from the Ozark Mountains. I got tons of that stuff still, so I don't know if I ain't around here. But so that's kind of it. And then I became our agent. We were the American Arts Alliance is what we were in.
Okay.
That was a federal funded thing, and they had us. We were in catalogs, federal catalogs, and that's where we worked. I worked out there, and I was the agent.
So people would book you after they read about you in the catalogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I booked this stuff. And so that went on for years. Well, I said until '93, died in 1993.
Okay.
So and we got in with Rounder Records, which was Allison Krauss.
Wow.
We figured that's the reason they used us, because we figured that's the reason they did that. Vote did it in tour. Because they were making so much money off of Allison that they do that. So we played a lot of the big names there. All on now. I mean, there's a few of them still around now. But that's how I got involved with it.
How did you and when did you start collecting books and publications?
Well, I was done all the way before any of this started.
Really?
Oh yeah, I always read. I like to read. My mother was a reader. My dad wasn't, my mother was. And then I got involved too, reading the Ozarks. And well, then all that stuff with Grandma McCann,
Yeah.
and just more things just got all involved. And I know all history. Yeah, I like history anyway, because of my mother's family and the McCanns too. Because Grandma McCann, I didn't know anything about that yet then. That wasn't until in the 40s, until I put started putting things sort of sitting together. And Mona got a little cardboard box with photographs and stuff. But I thought I was a grandson, so I was a great grandson, but she didn't know that. And this woman in Stockton had was a collector.
What was that?
I don't know. Who knows? Something falling down. Who knows? That's probably
Ice Cube or something.
Ice Cube, yeah. But anyway, it all got involved, and but the books, I didn't draw. Well, I just started going to auctions. Missouri books, and Springfield Blueprint.
Yeah.
We was copied type of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just from then, so that part of it too.
It was really interesting getting to look through your materials because, I see the bits and pieces of how this all kind of came together. But do you think there was kind of a key moment or a catalyst that really helped you kind of be seen as an expert in the Ozarks?
No, just kept I just was there.
Yeah.
And I got the music along with the music. And the music, and then this Springfield, and of course then the round table. That's right, Lord. I was a young kid there because I was the youngest. I'm the one. I'm the oldest, the single most settled.
Charter member.
Charter member now. Because I was young then. And then I met so many people too. Holston and Lucille and she's and just the history.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The rivers out there in the Ozarks. Because that's where my folks floated the rivers all the time. And I went to Bill Rogers and Old Cumberland Bridge, the old river. And they leave me when I was real little. I'd stay in bed with the Adis Rogers, and they floated on the river during the day, and then they'd stay there,
Wow.
So I was in the Ozarks all the time, and just interested in it.
Well, kind of, in looking back even maybe to then, but especially when you started getting questions about the Ozarks, how do you think the perception of the region has changed since, you were first getting questions from reporters or people or whoever?
Just people, Julie, not me and daughter and all that for some reason too. Well, my aunt was married Charlotte Wood McCann, and that was a part of KWTO.
Okay.
And so I was involved with there, and that's how I got involved there with the commercial music thing because of her then.
So I didn't know you were involved at KWTO. What did you do there?
Oh, my aunt. She was my aunt.
Yeah? Were you working there too in any
No.
Oh, okay.
But she was my aunt. I'd go down there and watch it. Go.
Wow.
And and like I said, we were interested in it, some of us. Just hillbilly music, So like that. Just I don't leave all stuff. I want to get mixed there.
Well, and one thing we haven't talked about yet is Randolph. Could you talk a little bit about how that?
Well, I knew who Randolph was because my mother, Ozark Bookshop, came on across from St. Paul Methodist. I read, but University Reserve. I mean, I was all involved in. You see here I'm studying now.
Sorry.
Oklahoma Press.
Oh, okay. Oklahoma Press.
Good quality bottle books on Indian stuff and all that. I know what I said and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And and then of course we're married.
Mm-hmm.
Most people.
Uh-huh.
All that one there, you know. They were there in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it just it was. And I was a part of it, the McCann family, and my grandmother, then of course later all that. It's all involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, and initially though, what did you wrote to Randolph and said, I found books?
No, let's see. Oh, I know. My first experience, the thing, was Max Hunter. Well, I knew him Max Hunter because we worked with them on something else.
Okay.
We worked through the business there.
Mm.
And so I knew, and I got involved in, I heard about his songs and stuff. I didn't much about him, you know. And then, well, I just got interested in it. And it's part of the history.
Mm-hmm.
And then my people didn't sing. You know, I didn't get it there.
No.
So I don't know how in the world. But should KFCO mainly is the main thing.
Well,
Because then my uncle married her during the war.
Mm-hmm. When I'm thinking about the book specifically that you did with Vance, was it
No, I didn't do anything. Only the book that got me interested in history was the Galbraith Ozark speech. That's a book on English dialect. And so I knew I learned about that. And then I read his stuff, other stuff too. His first Earl, they were older than me, back then, you know.
But then how did you guys
and then Ernest Rayburn and all those people, Lucy Source Epton, the ball lovers, all that kind of stuff got me started.
Then how did you and him end up doing the bibliography together?
Well, let's see. Okay, now I went to, they had the Sergeant lectures at SMS on the Ozarks. Wasn't much to it really, but Max Hunter was the talk speaker, and also, then now the Ozark. Mark Twain National Forest. Their office was right across from us.
Okay.
We did a lot of work for them. So
Downtown.
I got to meet all those guys.
Okay.
And I was interested in the outdoors and the rivers.
Especially
really interested. They got me Neil Heimsall.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the people's names now. I knew them all and they worked with them and since I did yes, we had all those, and so I was involved with them. We go on trips with them and stuff. And then okay, so the SMS had this little thing with some talk to, you know. And I remember Max Hunter would say, well, there's no need, you people didn't try and see him. He won't see you. You'll only see me and two other people. That's the only people that know about him. And his soul really secure. No, don't even try. I thought, well, that's a bunch of bull. You know, well. So then my children went to school, Fayetteville. And so let's see, one, I don't know what, Christmas or Easter, I don't know what it was. But my children were both in school then. And, I know, I got down there one day, I just called up his office, his home, his restroom where he was, Sunset Valley restroom. Pitiful place, really. But anyway, and I'd like to, if I can meet, well.
Okay. So the last couple things I want to make sure I ask you is what, number one, go ahead.
I was going to tell you, we're in the middle of it. I finally, so I called up his house, the restroom, and she said, he'll talk to you. He'll talk to you. And so next thing I was talking to Vance. I didn't know him. And let's see. Oh, well, we got to talking. Well, I knew so many of these people that he knew from all this stuff I was doing up here. And that got us going now. And so we went, come out by Mr. McCann. Okay. So we came out, and that guy got kicked off. And when I went out there, he was laying in his bedroom, you know. Did you ever see him? Well, his voice is pretty much flat. Well, and it's talking about how sad it was. It's just there's nothing there now. Well, I had a big elevator by then. I had my own. So when I got home, and it's in the front of one of those books, I think. And I went back. I listed the books I had that he didn't have. 90-something books.
Wow.
That he hadn't heard. And I got the letter. The next day the letter came. Bam, right away. Sir, you know, I could could I be happy if you left me? Could you help me, you know? That's how it started.
Wow.
And I had almost 100 books that he hadn't even heard about, but he couldn't. Listen, the sad thing about it, I should have never been involved with any of this. I've always said this. Here he was, 4 blocks from the University of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they didn't ever come see him. I came to see Merrick, and Merrick had been in the English department and also the Ozarks stuff. She just kind of, and they would see, they say Vance a lot. Then they had just a dirty old man. I heard that start dirty old man stuff. Now that's such a bull too. Anyway, and all those 90 hours of tape, maybe, I don't know how many now. I got 2 big boxes. I'm getting all involved here. I got involved with, he said, could you help me do some stuff here? I said, well, yeah, I'll be happy to, you know. Well, I had calls I was making in Arkansas then. They started dead then. There's many customers down there. I'm over making a call. And so I started making calls down there, and I would, on my loan hour, I would go out and work with him. And then I started being his most book searcher around. All these little towns I called him, I go by the library. And I look at to see what's in what they had, you know, what new books you have on the Ozarks. I'd check them out. I'd take them to him. And so I got him ready, and he seen a lot of stuff out there. Then I started sending him stuff, and I was his book searcher, in other words.
Wow.
And so then, I don't know, sometime after maybe a year's time, I don't know how I got involved with this. But I kind of thought the way he did, in a way. And kind of thought, kind of looked at things a little way, like not this dirty stuff. That's a bunch of bull. No, it may be. I didn't know. I heard about him when he was younger. But in all my tapes, you won't find, except for Pitts, in that, you won't find a bunch of body stuff, except pushing in the snow. That's it. And even any of that. Just stories, you know. But anyway, so it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then, of course, I had met Rayburn, and gosh, I can't even think of him now. I'm getting old now.
Well, before I forget to ask, I wanted to just make sure I posed this question to you. And it's like, after everything you've done, is there a area of the Ozarks, both either topical or geographical, you think has been really overlooked that people need to know more about?
Well, now, the social media, that's that's the really bad thing. And because it's very serious on everything. And everything. Every hillbillies. We're still, that's what the Smithsonian think of us pretty much, see? And all that stuff. Rayburn's and I can't think of I can't even think of things now. But an area, it'd be hard for me to say. I don't know now because it's been so embossed through all this other stuff. There's still a lot of it. Golly, shoot, I go out here. If I go out and these people are here, and the 4 or 5 of these down Springfield, Joplin, or whatever, I get to the Ozarks
The
from
people who live there.
this age group.
Yeah.
And because they haven't been completely immersed in the career stuff. But I can't talk anymore now. You have to decide whether to do that. But oh Lord, no, I hear stories all the time. But now, yeah, but some of it now, and I don't know now here, you got Vance, you've heard the stories, and he wasn't biracial completely. He used receptions. She wasn't very happy with him.
Yeah.
But there's still stories around. There's still people. Oh yeah, still a lot of stories.
Gotta just go find them.
But yeah, you have to use that in the area. So you're getting into people.
I do my best. I know there's a lot more though. It's sad that there's always stories that we won't know about.
Oh no, Lord, Lord, no. Jeez, we just scratch the surface on some stuff that people just won't talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of that, and a lot of dark stories.
Yeah.
Within families or within communities, that some of these people love to get hold of that stuff.
Yeah. It reinforces the idea of what they think the Ozarks is.
Yeah. See, I've got you don't know this. I got 10, maybe 12, 14, maybe 8 volumes of body stuff that I got from the Library of Congress that he did when we were working on the Ozarks, that dialect.
Wow.
That you've never seen.
No, I haven't
won't
seen
show
those.
it to you. It's all it is. It's mostly junior high, grade school, body stuff, That's what it is. And he collected that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, something I did like is a chorus on the whole wall. And John's, he copied those things. He copied that people write things in the radio. I got tons of that stuff too. But you know that anyway. You've seen that anyway. I haven't shown it to anybody. I got it all back to it. And bought it. Now the only thing that's different to me is the square dance stuff. And some story stuff.
Yeah.
That is local area. Particularly. There's a few words. I don't know. I never heard it before, but.
Well, even like they talk about the tradition of square dancing in Douglas County, how that's different than other places, and probably the nuances of those are things that need to be better studied, maybe.
No, what though? You mean just the regular? I don't know now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because TV, the social media, has just engulfed us.
Because it's made things more standardized.
Oh yeah. Stuff that horrible stuff. There's nothing now. TV's worse. Our television's worse. Filthy stuff, But we never used it. Never had done that in public at all.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just I don't know. But the television on daytime,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's in us. Sheesh. You know, just well, it's into all through history.
Yeah.
And every language has body element. Every language has the same stuff. It's a part of the language.
Guess we, as humans, aren't that different from each other in the end.
No, go way back. Lordy, when you read some of these early books, and you're amazed at how filthy, we would say filthy now, stuff was, you know. Oh, I got tons of this stuff. But I'm not going to show you. Or you remember either Matt Mike either. But now I got 2 or 3 volumes of about that thick of body
Oh, okay.
So dance calls.
Oh, okay.
Dirty stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sit down there.
Where did you get those from?
Library of Congress.
Oh, those are from the Library of Congress.
I had you. I'm going to show you.
Who collected those though?
Bob, he did.
Oh, Bob did?
No, Ed
Vance?
Yeah.
Oh, Vance did, yeah.
That's his stuff.
Okay.
Now, it's all about in Europe. That's thick of that stuff. He's got tons of it. Oh, not tons, but he's got gobs of it. Right?
Substantial amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But, and you're in other countries, you know, you run into that same stuff. The same thing. I don't know. It's just body versus stuff, you know. But I don't know. I don't know what's bad, good, or bad anymore, you know.
Is there anything else about the Ozarks you'd want people to know that I didn't ask you? Or we didn't talk about?
Not now. Not with the dams. My Ozarks are gone. They're drowned under the lakes. Boy, that was beautiful. Well, I still have some areas. The buffalo and burnt. I said, but they've all been.
Yeah.
Well, it'll come back. Those will be washed out someday, and they'll come back again. Oh yeah, look, we're a beautiful country here. We have. Yep. And I don't know wildlife though. I know it's all different.
Yeah.
But I think back of the drawer, the way we used to spend time in it. Today would be primitive.
Yeah.
On the rivers. That's something I still haven't even been in. I haven't been on the see, I can't think of the towns now, the countries. But now I can remember her my in the ice house in Reed Springs, at the ice house we stopped and get our ice to take on down to the White River.
Wow.
And I saw wagons come in, being pulled by horses.
Wow.
Women working my work for a long way. I seen that. I sat there and watched it. Even though I was a little boy, that.
What years would have that probably been?
Oh, when I was 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember those.
And you were born in 1930? 31. So this would have been mid-30s, probably.
Yeah, about the 40.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You're oh, yeah. That wasn't that unusual. She feel barefoot, especially.
Yeah.
But now, it's all different now, you know. But I didn't hear too much body stuff. I was just a little boy. And that's it, Miss Edgar, stretches. That's it, kind of a bang. But there's still a lot of that stuff. And but the drugs and stuff. So we didn't have any drugs.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what they were. Except my shoulders sore where I felt
Oh.
I said, ha. But well, I got to figure. Now there's 3 or 4 dissertations right there in there.
Uh-huh.
Easily. I got to call the boy. I can call that one boy and see if he'll get them all. I got to go through them too. Pictures to go through. Oh Lord, you haven't seen all this stuff I got. This education to you.
I'm sure that I would really be interested.
Oh, you would be. Yeah, he didn't have all of that. And he wouldn't understand that. He wouldn't be different to him. Oh yeah. If we could sit there and go under that screen thing, I can go flip.
That'd be great.
Yeah, you really find it interesting. Because I can tell you the people.
Yeah.
But you missed your art group. You missed the really character people. I mean, even in my lifetime, as I said, those barefoot women, always. But not quite that far of that, but just different people, a different way of life. My grandparents' age. That's when I've been going to Clark for 35 years, and now when I go through them things, I got to get away from Springfield. I like it. Ogden's has a lot of stories. Boy, nice, fun though, a lot of fun. And we had good times. And they're on tape.
Yeah.
Most of these are on those tapes.
Thanks to you.
Well, no, they get thrown away probably.
They're not going to get, no one's going to throw them away. I'm just grateful we have them, because if you hadn't recorded them, we wouldn't have the documentation.
Well, there's documentation, but now there's a lot of stuff. I tell you, some I haven't done with, and I did do them first, and I throw them away. It's Comer Owens. I got some places like people like him.
Yeah.
Who was really an oafer. Really, talk about backwoods too, boy. I mean, different world. I got these. I got to get. I don't know where they are now. Who knows? Everything when Mona had her effects.
Yeah.
Everything went they went crazy, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
Nice dialogue. Everything's different. Everything's different out of. But those, and now that's because those tapes. That's all those tapes. But the documentation of that long, they don't have those estimates because they just wrote off, and nobody's there. And nobody's doing anything on them now anyway. See, David was shocked at the association of the people I haven't seen. Nope. Oh well.
So well, I was going to say before.
Yeah.
I would say officially stop the recording.
Yeah.
But thank you for visiting with us today about this and for all of your contributions with everything.
I really haven't done. I really. Shoot, so many of them are gone now. I'd have to go back. Oh, I got tons of all those tapes. Oh Lord, yes, I got these. Ours are. Yeah. And then I didn't listen to them. I got 2-hour conversations with people that you'd be interested in everything right now.